Get ready, WNBA fans, because the season just delivered one of its most electrifying finales yet. As the curtains close on this year's action-packed games, Phoenix Mercury's standout Sophie Cunningham, teammate of the legendary Diana Taurasi, has sparked intense conversations with her bold comments about Caitlin Clark that have everyone buzzing. But that's only scratching the surface. Caitlin Clark didn't just shine this season. She redefined what's possible on the court. From shattered records and jaw-dropping plays to leading the Indiana Fever through an unexpected transformation, her impact was undeniable. And here's the twist. Some of the league's seasoned veterans are feeling the heat. Yes, you heard right. This rising star made such waves that it stirred the egos of established stars. Stay tuned as we break down all the highlights and dive into Cunningham's remarks that have everyone talking. In a recent interview, Sophie shared this eye-opening insight about Caitlin Clark.
But I think they've done a great job in the league as well. I think the physicality and all that they're going to get used to, but I think especially Caitlin Clark, she's been killing it. And I'm a huge fan, and I never say that, but I think it's fun what she's doing.
Can you believe what's unfolding in the WNBA? A seasoned teammate of the legendary Diana Taurasi is openly lauding a rookie, and that's a rare sight in the league. Sophie Cunningham isn't stopping there. She went on to say, "When it comes to viewership, man, I think a lot of people have a lot to learn about our league. But I think that's a really fun thing. If you have anything negative to say about the viewership and everything this rookie class is doing, I just think you're not capitalizing on it and you might be a little jealous." Sophie just unleashed a bombshell against anyone criticizing Caitlin Clark's success and her fellow rookies. Essentially, she's arguing that if you're not thrilled about the league's growth, the issue lies with you. But why is Sophie, an established player, so passionately defending Caitlin Clark and the new rookies? The answer is straightforward: impact. Clark isn't just excelling on the court, she's reshaping the perception of the WNBA. Since her debut, viewership has surged. Stadiums that once had empty seats are now buzzing with fans. People aren't just tuning in to Indiana Fever games. They're buying tickets, jerseys, and buzzing about the WNBA on social media like never before. And here's the kicker. Clark is achieving all this as a rookie. She didn't need years to adapt or build a fan base. She arrived and is already a force to be reckoned with. That's why Sophie and other insightful players recognize that Clark's success translates to the WNBA's success as a whole. But Clark's influence goes beyond scoring. She's redefining the point guard role in the WNBA. Her assists are masterpieces. She spots angles that others miss and delivers passes that leave commentators in awe. The craziest part? She's doing all this while facing defenses specifically designed to stop her. Entire teams have had to rethink their strategies just to contain Caitlin Clark, yet she continues to dominate. This is why veterans like Sophie Cunningham are so impressed. Clark isn't just playing well, she's changing the game, forcing teams and players to adapt and elevate the entire league. Now, let's dive into what Cunningham mentioned that's stirring up the league: the jealousy and criticism targeting Caitlin Clark. It sounds unbelievable, right? A rookie shaking up the league to the point of making veterans envious? But that's the reality. Some players and fans are complaining about the spotlight Clark is stealing, claiming it overshadows more experienced players. But let's be honest, this is pure jealousy. As Sophie Cunningham aptly pointed out, those who gripe about Clark's visibility aren't capitalizing on it and might just be a little envious. And she's spot on. Clark's success doesn't take away from any other player's value. In fact, increased attention benefits everyone in the WNBA. More fans mean more revenue, which can lead to higher salaries, better playing conditions, and more opportunities for all players. Clark is expanding the league's market, attracting new fans who might never have watched a WNBA game before. Once hooked, These fans aren't just following Clark, they're discovering all the incredible talent the league has to offer. That's why savvy players like Cunningham are embracing the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. They understand that a rising tide lifts all boats. Clark's triumphs are the WNBA's triumphs. And let's face it, Clark deserves all the hype. She's not just racking up numbers, she's redefining what's possible in women's basketball. Her passes, court vision, and scoring ability are at a level rarely seen from a rookie. So to those feeling jealous or critical, here's some advice. Instead of complaining, ride the wave. Use this surge in attention to showcase your own talents. Because what Caitlin Clark is doing is opening doors for all WNBA players. Moreover, Clark's impact on the WNBA's popularity is likely to keep rising. We're already witnessing a significant boost in viewership and fan engagement. If this trend continues, we could be on the verge of a new golden era for professional women's basketball, leading to more investments in the league, better contracts for players, increased media coverage, and possibly even expansion to new cities. The possibilities are endless. Additionally, Clark is inspiring the next generation. How many young athletes are watching her now, dreaming of becoming the next Caitlin Clark? She's fueling a new wave of talent that will only strengthen the WNBA further. Finally, let's consider Clark's legacy. If she maintains this trajectory, we're not just talking about a great player. We could be witnessing the rise of one of the greatest of all time. She has the potential to be to the WNBA what legends like Michael Jordan and LeBron James are to the NBA. However, it's not all smooth sailing. As Clark continues to dominate and draw attention, the pressure mounts. Expectations are sky high. She set a tremendous standard in her rookie season, and everyone expects her to surpass it every game. What happens if she has a bad night or goes through a scoring slump? Critics will be quick to pounce. Then there's the physical toll. The WNBA season is long and demanding, especially for a rookie. Clark is logging more minutes, facing tougher defenses, and traveling extensively. Can she maintain this level of performance through the season and into the playoffs? And let's not overlook the mental strain. With every move scrutinized and every word analyzed, the pressure is immense. Will she be able to stay focused and continue performing at an elite level? So, what do you think? Will Caitlin Clark keep dominating and break all the records we've discussed? Or will other teams find a way to challenge her? And what are your thoughts on Sophie Cunningham's comments? Do you agree that the criticism Clark is facing stems from jealousy? Or do you believe there are legitimate concerns?
First person I can honestly say that looks like Steph Curry. Like she's not guardable right now, and she can hit almost any shot from the outside.
Almost any.
How much of a power she is out there on the court. The cool part is the way that she plays and her range and the level of difficulty on her shots is obviously a very close comparison.
From long-range shots to lasting influence, Caitlin Clark isn't just setting records, she's shattering them. Surpassing even Steph Curry's iconic three-point average, she's reshaping the future of basketball. But what happens when Caitlin Clark crosses paths with Steph Curry's legacy?
Do you think Caitlin Clark could beat Steph Curry in a three-point contest?
That's tough. Shooters can have an off night. You just never know. Caitlin has no conscience where she pulls from.
Steph has no conscience where he pulls from.
Been doing it for a long time, so can never go against Steph. Steph has been doing it for a long time.
Recently, Caitlin Clark has solidified her place in basketball history, and it's not just because of her scoring ability, it's where she scores from. New stats show that Caitlin Clark now holds the record for the longest average three-point range, an incredible 28 feet.
I think the WNBA narrative right now is Caitlin Clark, and I think that's a good narrative, but it's also not the only narrative. Caitlin is an amazing generational talent, and she's going to do amazing things. You're the number one pick. People are going to go after.
This remarkable accomplishment not only surpasses the previous record held by NBA legend Steph Curry, but it also sets a new, higher standard for shooting excellence in basketball. By pushing the boundaries of what was once thought possible, Caitlin Clark has redefined the range at which players can score, inspiring future generations to aim even further.
Do I need to call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlin Clark?
I think I'll just be the female version of Steph.
At just 22 years old, Clark's achievement is far more than a statistical outlier. It's a reflection of her unmatched skill, court awareness, and unshakable confidence. As the all-time leading scorer in college basketball, regardless of gender, she has already left an indelible mark on the game. With her new record-breaking 28-foot average, Caitlin Clark has not just added a new statistic to her resume, she's fundamentally redefined what it means to be a sharpshooter in the modern era. To put her accomplishment into perspective, Steph Curry, widely considered the greatest shooter in basketball history, boasts a three-point range averaging around 27 feet. At the time, that seemed untouchable. Curry's range revolutionized the game, sparking an era of deep shooting and permanently changing the way basketball is played. But now, Caitlin Clark has pushed that boundary even further, raising the bar to new heights.
I love me some Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter in the history of basketball.
However, Clark has taken that revolution even further, stretching the boundaries of possibility with an additional foot of range that makes her a constant threat the moment she crosses half court. This is no accident. Clark's shooting range is the result of years of dedicated training, an innate basketball IQ, and an unwavering competitive spirit. Her shooting form is a perfect balance of precision and power, enabling her to effortlessly launch shots from well beyond the arc. But what truly sets her apart is her fearlessness. Clark isn't afraid to take shots from distances most players wouldn't even think about. Whether it's a contested three in the final seconds of a game or a casual pull-up from 30 feet on the fast break, she makes what seems impossible look completely effortless.
Shout out to Caitlin Clark. She's a certified bucket. To quote Shaq, I was not familiar with her game. I respect her game. She's a fucking baller. She was pulling up like Steph Curry from deep. But I just got one question. Matt, do you think you can beat Caitlin Clark in one-on-one?
Absolutely not. Nobody here can.
I'm busting her ass. You wild. Shit. You wild, bro.
This record also speaks volumes about the evolution of women's basketball. Clark's success stands as a powerful testament to how the game has progressed, with athletes consistently pushing the limits of what's possible on the court. Her remarkable shooting range has drawn comparisons to Curry, but it has also established her as a trailblazer in her own right, showing that women's basketball is just as dynamic, innovative, and game-changing as the men's game.
I think Steph Curry made the WNBA watchable.
Caitlin Clark, baby.
The way that Caitlin Clark was playing was a very digestible form of basketball. But now this girl out of nowhere is playing like Steph, and it was still digestible.
Meanwhile, Clark has reached this milestone in an era where defenders are more focused than ever on limiting long-range threats. Opponents specifically game plan to neutralize her, yet she continues to excel, constantly finding ways to create space and sink one clutch shot after another from deep. Her 28-foot average isn't just a number, it's a declaration of dominance. As Caitlin Clark keeps breaking records and exceeding expectations, the basketball world is left to wonder just how much further she can push the boundaries of shooting.
Is there anybody in the NBA under the age of 30 that's a bigger name, bigger jaw, bigger star than Caitlin Clark?
For now, one thing is clear. Clark has not only surpassed Steph Curry's legendary mark, but has firmly established herself as one of the most transformative figures in basketball. Her 28-foot average three-point range is more than just a record, it's the foundation of a legacy in the making. Caitlin Clark isn't just redefining the game of basketball, she's reshaping its entire business model. The sharpshooting sensation, already celebrated for her historic three-point average that outpaces even Curry, is demonstrating that her influence extends far beyond the court.
I mean, honestly, $1,000 for a family of 4 to go to a WNBA game. That seems wild. It really does. The Clark effect.
Clark now represents an incredible 1/4 of all WNBA merchandise and ticket sales. This remarkable achievement highlights her power to attract fans, drive revenue, and become a true game changer for women's sports. Moreover, in a league that has long battled for visibility and equality, Clark has sparked an unprecedented wave of fan engagement. From jerseys bearing her name to arenas packed with fans chanting in her honor, Clark is more than just a player. She's become a movement.
Caitlin Clark, her style of play it's not just her individually as a person or what skin color she is. I think it's, more so about her style of play, her playing.
According to reports, her merchandise sales alone make up nearly 25% of the WNBA's total revenue in this category, an extraordinary figure that speaks to her unmatched popularity. Whether it's fans buying her iconic number 22 jersey or scooping up exclusive Caitlin Clark-themed collectibles, her appeal is undeniable. The same goes for ticket sales. Clark's games are an event, consistently attracting record-breaking crowds.
I love talking about Caitlin Clark on this show, and she participated in some kind of LPGA Pro-Am, drew monster crowds. There's pictures of just like everybody trying to get an autograph with Caitlin Clark.
Outrageous criticism, media frenzy, and a string of headlines. It's safe to say that Caitlin Clark has been at the center of controversy over the past few months. In a move that caught everyone off guard, Clark struck a headline-making deal with the LPGA, calling her WNBA legacy into question and sparking debates about loyalty, fame, and ambition.
One more key photo. Caitlin, Monica. Great to meet you. Looking forward to the afternoon together. Okay, go. Come on. Hug it out. Squeeze in close together. We'll get one right here, please.
Speaking of which, the Caitlin Clark effect is starting to take shape. After delivering what could be the best rookie season in NBA history, she made the unexpected move to female golf, where she's now being heralded as the next big thing. But how did Clark manage to conquer 2 worlds in just 8 months? And why are critics calling her success a betrayal of women's basketball? In this video, we'll break down everything from Caitlin Clark's new deal to the backlash and everything surrounding her controversial journey. But before we dive in, let's take a trip down memory lane. At the start of the year, the Caitlin Clark effect was undeniable. Even before she set foot on a WNBA court, ticket sales for every platform skyrocketed by over 90% once she declared for the draft. Her performance in the league has been nothing short of outstanding. In her rookie season with the Indiana Fever, she averaged 19 points per game, scoring at least 13 points in 29 of her 36 games this year. What's even more surprising are her record-breaking feats, becoming the first player in WNBA history to hit over 100 three-point shots and rack up 300 assists in a single season. At this point, NBA analysts were already calling her a generational talent. But Clark's influence wasn't just reflected in the numbers, it was in the stands as well. Every week, Fever games turned into must-watch events, with fans traveling from across the country to see her play. She brought an entirely new audience to the WNBA. Meanwhile, Reese wasn't just riding the wave of hype, she was making her own history, becoming the first rookie to record an all-star game, double-double, the first WNBA player to achieve back-to-back 20-rebound games, and pulling off an impressive 24 double-doubles in her rookie season. While others are still trying to catch up, Reese is reshaping the game, and Clark has done more than just elevate the league's profile. However, while Clark was drawing record crowds, boosting TV ratings, and breathing new life into women's basketball, the WNBA failed to make her the face of the league. As a result, Caitlin Clark is now taking her talents and fan base elsewhere. Enter her debut at an LPGA Pro-Am, which drew bigger crowds than some of the tour's main events. At this point, she's not just rewriting the narrative in basketball, she's also making waves in women's golf. Playing alongside world number 1 Nelly Korda at the Pelican Golf Club's Annika Pro-Am, Clark showed that her influence extends far beyond the basketball court. If anyone thought her dominance was limited to the hardwood, her impressive performance on the greens has now silenced many doubters. When Caitlin Clark stepped onto the Pelican Golf Club course, it was clear this wasn't just another golfer taking their turn. The LPGA capitalized on the moment by pairing Clark with Nelly Korda, a marketing move that spotlighted both players as generational talents. The anticipation was electric, and even the Golf Channel rearranged its programming to cover her live, something unheard of for a Pro-Am event. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark took the spotlight in Florida, drawing massive crowds, and once again, proving that her star power extends well beyond the basketball court. Alongside Korda, Clark played with tournament host Annika Sorenstam, teeing off at the crack of dawn and launching an early shot into the gallery. Fans were glued to her every move at Pelican Golf Club. The WNBA Rookie of the Year's presence drove ticket sales and boosted media attention for the event. After the round, she was swarmed for autographs, and with an endorsement deal from Gainbridge, the LPGA tournament's sponsor, and a role in a women's leadership summit, it was clear her presence was far from casual. While Clark insists that golf is her escape, her single long-range putt left fans wondering, is she just playing for fun, or is she quietly taking over yet another sport? One thing is clear, the LPGA is thriving on Caitlin Clark's star power in a way the WNBA could only dream of. The media and golf elite couldn't stop singing her praises. 8-time LPGA champion Nelly Korda, who played alongside Clark, had nothing but admiration for her after the game, praising her skills and presence on the course.
It was so amazing. She's so sweet, so nice. It was nice to kind of get to spend some time with her. We've messaged a little on Instagram beforehand, but to get to spend some time with her and to see the influence that she has on people, bringing people out here, and to see how amazing of an influence she is.
The praise didn't stop with Nelly Korda. LPGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan was equally blown away, calling Caitlin Clark's performance incredible and applauding her passion for the game. Overall, Clark's presence on the course didn't just spark excitement, it stirred up drama. Her growing star power now threatens to overshadow seasoned pros in yet another sport. Is Caitlin Clark the crossover phenom golf never knew it needed? Or is this a sign that women's sports are evolving faster than their leagues can keep up? At this point, it's clear Clark isn't slowing down anytime soon. However, not everyone is cheering for Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise. While Korda and Monahan praised her for uniting fans across sports, insiders in the WNBA are reportedly seething over her crossover success. The LPGA's full-court press to spotlight Clark has left some in the WNBA feeling left behind. Insiders claim league officials are frustrated, not only by the LPGA's success, but also because the WNBA has failed to fully capitalize on Clark's star power. Social media lit up with clips of her swings, and national basketball and golf media flocked to the event. Tournament host and golf legend Annika Sorenstam captured the moment perfectly, highlighting Clark's undeniable impact on the sport. For better or worse, Caitlin Clark is rewriting the playbook for crossover stardom and shaking up women's sports in the process. Despite questions about her commitment to golf, it was revealed she's been swinging clubs since childhood. After making her 2023 debut at the John Deere Classic alongside major champion Zach Johnson, Clark's appearance at the Pelican Golf Club proved one thing: her crossover appeal is no fluke. Meanwhile, WNBA enthusiasts are rumored to feel overshadowed by Clark's dominance on the golf course, despite her record-breaking rookie season on the basketball court. While golf fans flock to see her tee off and whispers of a potential LPGA contract swirl, WNBA fans are left asking why their league hasn't given Clark the same level of attention. Take her Rookie of the Year award, for example. Rather than a grand celebration for her groundbreaking achievements, it was handed out in a nearly empty arena with little fanfare, a baffling move for someone who has done more to elevate the league in one season than most players do in a career. As the buzz around Clark's golf ventures intensifies, the WNBA's failure to capitalize on her star power becomes increasingly obvious. The LPGA has done what the WNBA couldn't. They turned Caitlin Clark's star power into a game changer. But here's the irony. Caitlin's rise should be a win for everyone. She has brought unprecedented attention to women's sports. Yet, while the LPGA embraced the moment and ran with it, the WNBA stayed stuck in its old ways, hesitant, overly cautious, and failing to seize the bold opportunity. When a male NBA or NFL star steps into another sport, social media explodes with hype. This was the WNBA's chance to do the same, celebrate Clark, ride the wave of excitement, and prove they can champion their biggest stars. Instead, they fumbled. Now, the league finds itself at a crossroads, grappling with a familiar issue: how to balance promoting standout players like Clark while still pushing the league forward as a whole. The LPGA made its move and won. Meanwhile, the WNBA risks being left in the dust, overshadowed by a star they didn't know how to celebrate. As Clark juggles her intense off-season training while fielding interest from the rapidly growing 3-on-3 women's basketball league, her crossover into golf raises an even bigger question. Is Caitlin Clark reshaping women's sports? Or is she quietly stepping away from basketball altogether?
I think kind of how you mentioned earlier, just finding the rhythm, finding the confidence in game. Shooting 25 shots in a row in practice is different than getting your 4 looks in a game and not being able to knock them down and having the confidence to continue shooting them. So I think just getting the opportunity in that second half of the season and seeing them go in and then continuing to get those open looks really just fed that confidence, and I think that hot streak towards the end.
I couldn't bring myself to face my teammates anymore. We just longed for it to end. These chilling remarks from Lexi Hull shook the WNBA landscape in her latest explosive interview. Hull finally speaks out about the Indiana Fever's 2024 season with Caitlin Clark. What transformed this struggling squad into championship contenders? Why did Hull's bond with Clark surprise everyone? Hull uncovers the team's secrets, locker room tensions, and the truth behind their legendary turnaround. You won't believe what truly happened behind closed doors.
I mean, the numbers support it. We obviously know it is a truism, but even last year, where the numbers were not where you wanted them to be, when you played 10 to 19 minutes, you shot 11% from three. When you played 20 to 29, it was 22%. You played north of 30 minutes, you were 33%. You were finding it as you went, and then obviously you've elevated all of those levels in the process. Was there a moment that, when you're talking to Christy Sides early on, where you're being told, I am going to get more of this playing time, more of this opportunity? And does that help feed your confidence as well?
The 2024 season kicked off as a relentless nightmare for the Indiana Fever. Lexi Hull reclines in her chair, takes a deep breath, and reveals what truly transpired during those grueling early weeks. 11 games in just 20 days. It still sounds unbelievable, even when she recounts it now. She shakes her head in disbelief. This wasn't merely a tough schedule, it was the most intense stretch the WNBA had witnessed since 2003.
I mean, honestly, I can't really pinpoint a moment. It was, I think, just I was given a chance in a game and I hit a couple early ones, and then you get a couple more minutes, and you hit another one and you get a couple more minutes. So it wasn't ever like I was told you're going to be playing today, make sure you take advantage of it. It was just, when you're sitting on that bench and you don't know when your number is going to be called, and when it finally is called, just trying to take advantage of it. And I was just happy that the ball went in.
We were trudging back to the hotel at 2 a.m. after a game, and guess what? Another game awaited us the very next night. Hull discloses that the team was completely drained, barely having the chance to analyze game footage, let alone train. The physical toll was unmistakable. Ice packs, trips to the training room, and fatigued faces became commonplace in the Fever locker room. Yet, the mental strain was even more intense. Hull's voice softens as she recalls those dark times. Doubts begin to creep in. Your shots miss, your legs feel heavy, and the losses keep stacking up. It messes with your mind. The team's record plummeted to 2-11, a start that left fans and the media questioning whether the Fever could ever turn things around.
Do you know what you shot from three? You shot 66.7% from three. When you went out there, there's no such thing as tired legs in that scenario. You are 2 and 3. No one does that. No one does. I mean, it's just incredible.
The pressure became unbearable. Every missed shot felt personal, and each loss deepened our doubts. Hull remembers sitting alone in the gym after a tough defeat. My three-point percentage had dropped to 11%, and I couldn't make a basket like I did at Stanford. Coach Christy Sides saw the team struggling and called a meeting that changed everything. Hull's eyes light up as she recounts. Coach didn't yell or give a speech. She listened. For 3 hours, we shared our struggles. It felt like a weight was lifted. We realized we weren't alone. The next day, everything changed. Practices focused on small victories, strong defense, perfect passes, and supporting each other after mistakes. Coach told us to stop watching the scoreboard and start looking at each other, Hull explains. This shift turned the Fever around, transforming them into championship contenders.
When did you know that it was finally going to click for you? I mean, yeah, you hit 4 threes early on in the year, on May 25th against Las Vegas. There were signs early on that you were finding it. This before you even were starting. Was there a moment where it felt like this was finally happening? And again, was there any sort of off-season change? Was there anything that you were doing differently that helped this happen? Or does the ball just start going through the hoop for you?
May the 25th, 2024, the game that changed everything. The Fever faced Las Vegas, the league's powerhouse, and nobody expected them to win. I wasn't slated for major minutes, but then something magical happened. The first 3 shots went in, and it felt different, Hull recalls, imitating her shooting motion. By the 4th shot, the crowd was wild. Hull had found her groove and confidence. This led to one of the most remarkable turnarounds in WNBA history. Her shooting soared from 11% to 47.1% from three-point range. When the coach gave me more minutes, everything clicked, she explains. In games with over 30 minutes, she shot an incredible 66.7% from beyond the arc.
I think for me, we have some incredible playmakers on our team and incredible people that can get you the ball when you're open and create advantages. And so me being one of those people that I'm spacing the floor and I need to knock down those shots. So not only, holding myself accountable to do that as my role and hit those open looks, but also being able to stand up for my teammates and say, thank you. You're doing the work, you're doing the hard work, and I'll be here and I'll knock it down when I need to.
But the numbers only tell part of the story. The true transformation happened during practice. Hull reveals their secret weapon, midnight sessions after games. While most teams slept, we were in the gym. Coach Sides would spread out the balls and say, "Show me you want it." These late-night practices became legendary. Veterans mentored rookies, and players with limited minutes pushed the starters in scrimmages. The team developed unique signals, inside jokes, and a chemistry beyond basketball. We became more than teammates, Hull says. We became family. Her shooting routine was almost religious, 500 shots before and after practice. She studied film of her successful games, perfecting her form. As her shots improved, the team's chemistry off the court strengthened too. They began having team dinners, movie nights, and community service events. Fighting alongside people you care about hits different, Hull explains. Then everything changed when Caitlin Clark joined the Indiana Fever's practice facility. Lexi Hull recalls, the energy was different. Media and fans surrounded the gym. Hull laughs about her first practice with Clark. I had to rewire my brain, she admits. I'd be running to the basket, and suddenly the ball was in my hands. Caitlin found impossible angles. The chemistry between Clark and Hull developed quickly. They stayed after practice to work on timing and understanding each other. Caitlin would say, if you get to this spot, I'll find you every time, and she did. But the pressure to perform intensified under the national spotlight. There were games where we felt the weight of expectations and constant attention. It tests you mentally, Hull admits. From nearly quitting to becoming one of the WNBA's deadliest shooters, Lexi Hull's journey with the Indiana Fever is about never giving up.
It's that time. Call this.
You guys, everyone wants me to cry today. No way.
Have you ever witnessed a basketball star tear up over someone else's triumph? Well, Asia Wilson just did. The WNBA champion was seen in tears, but not for the reasons you'd expect. It's all in response to Caitlin Clark's emotional jersey retirement announcement.
I was like in tears, y'all.
You might be asking, what's all the fuss about? Don't players have their jerseys retired all the time? Well, not like this. Caitlin Clark's retirement ceremony is already setting records before it's even happened. Meanwhile, Asia Wilson's fans are crying foul, suggesting Iowa orchestrated this to steal the spotlight. But what spotlight? Iowa likely didn't even know when South Carolina planned Wilson's ceremony, especially since she graduated nearly a decade ago. We've got the facts, the timeline, and fan reactions that tell a different story. Let's break down why Wilson's tears are flowing and how Clark is once again changing the game for women's basketball. February 2nd, 2025. Don't forget that date, because it's about to become legendary in women's basketball. 2 players, 2 jersey retirements, but only one is stealing the spotlight like a supernova. Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson, both revolutionizing women's basketball in their own ways, are set to have their jerseys retired on the same day. But that's where the comparison ends. Clark's ceremony at Iowa is generating a buzz that's completely overshadowing Wilson's South Carolina event.
Iowa taking on USC and Juju Watkins, nationally televised game, I believe. February 2nd, 2-2, so it's 22. Everything about it lines up.
Let's talk numbers because they're crazy. The cheapest ticket to see Clark's jersey rise to the rafters is over $700, which is the most expensive ticket in women's basketball history. For some perspective, this price tag is even steeper than the cheapest ticket to an NBA Finals game. And if you're aiming for the best seats in the house, you'd better have a thick wallet, with tickets going for over $8,000. Meanwhile, you can catch a seat at Wilson's ceremony for just $25. No, that's not a typo. We're talking about a price difference more than 28 times higher for Clark's event.
But that is a supply and demand thing, especially in today's day and age where there's no such thing as a sellout, right? Where you can go to any event you want as long as you're willing to pay for it because of the secondary ticket market.
Social media is blowing up with reactions. This isn't just about ticket prices. It's a game-changing moment for women's basketball. The demand we're seeing now was unimaginable just a few years ago. Clark's final home game shattered records with tickets reaching $450. But now that feels like pocket change compared to her retirement ceremony. What's unfolding here is Clark reshaping the entire landscape of women's basketball. She's not just rewriting the record books on the court, she's breaking barriers off it. Clark has become a cultural icon, drawing in fans who might have never tuned into a women's basketball game before.
I'm leading scorer in women's college basketball.
But wait, there's more. This story is far from over. What does Wilson and her team have to say about this, you may ask?
One of the sentiments that was expressed was, oh, it's the same day as A'ja Wilson's, how could you do it? First of all, I remember them announcing A'ja Wilson was getting her jersey retired, but I didn't remember the date or anything. When the Clark news broke, I didn't think about A'ja Wilson. And again, as is the case with Caitlin Clark, this only is going to bring more attention to A'ja Wilson's jersey retirement.
As ticket prices for Clark's ceremony soared, another kind of inflation was taking over: online outrage. A'ja Wilson's fans aren't just upset, they're convinced a conspiracy is at play. But what if the real story is even more explosive than they think? The social media storm ignited with Wilson's supporters crying foul over the timing of Clark's jersey retirement. One fan didn't hold back, tweeting, "Why would y'all retire her jersey on the same day as A'ja Wilson? Are y'all stupid?" This sentiment echoed across social media, with Wilson's fan base feeling like their star was being overshadowed by the Clark phenomenon. But here's where it gets interesting. The timeline of these announcements tells a different story. Iowa didn't just pull Clark's jersey retirement out of thin air. They revealed their plans back on April 11th, 2024, right after the NCAA championship game.
And yes, Clark did get a standing ovation when Iowa's athletics director announced that the university will retire her number 22
that number
jersey.
holds a lot of weight, far beyond my name, and I guess I'm just really grateful, and it'll be a special day when that happens for sure. Thank you. It's been very special, and this place will always be home to me.
South Carolina didn't unveil their plans for Wilson's jersey retirement until October 2024. 6 months later, folks. Wilson's fans are saying they're not Clark fans, so why should they care about Iowa stealing the spotlight with their announcement? Why can't both players be honored on the same day?
First of all, there's nothing wrong with two schools retiring respective jerseys on the same day. But secondly, if you wanted the focus to be on A'ja Wilson, she'll probably get more attention as the second, most recognized jersey retirement of that day than she would have if she had the stage all to herself on that.
So why are Wilson's fans so certain that Iowa is trying to steal South Carolina's thunder? It all boils down to the meteoric rise of Clark's popularity. Iowa's athletic director, Beth Gutz, put it bluntly, Clark's accomplishments have made a lasting impact on the university and on women's basketball. They weren't responding to Wilson's announcement. They were celebrating their own superstar. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why did it take South Carolina so long to honor Wilson? One fan pointed out the obvious. Why did it take a decade for South Carolina to retire A'ja's number? How is that Iowa's problem? It's a fair question. Wilson graduated in 2018, yet it's taken until 2025 for her alma mater to retire her jersey. That's not on Iowa, that's on South Carolina.
And South Carolina waited years and years to retire A'ja's jersey.
The conspiracy theories are running wild, with some of Wilson's supporters convinced that Iowa deliberately picked this date to overshadow A'ja's moment. But let's think this through. Iowa chose a date that aligns with a high-profile game against USC, featuring rising star Juju Watkins, which was already set to be nationally televised. Plus, Clark's jersey has been hanging in Carver Hawkeye Arena for months. Everyone knew it was coming. How could Iowa possibly know when Asia's retirement ceremony was planned? No one even knew about it until Clark made her announcement. This isn't about stealing anyone's spotlight. It's about maximizing exposure for women's basketball as a whole.
And then there was, Iowa is rushing this. They're rushing, or everything is rushed with Caitlin Clark. No, she just did things faster and garnered more attention and more notoriety and celebrity and celebration and popularity.
Here's what's hilarious. Some fans are actually asking for Wilson to move her date. One tweet put it bluntly, "Tell Asia to move her date." Then the face of the WNBA is retiring hers. Show some respect. It's a stark reminder of how quickly the landscape of women's basketball is evolving. So what's really happening here? Is this about disrespect? Or is it simply a changing of the guard in women's basketball? The facts don't back up the conspiracy theories. Iowa's plans were in place long before Wilson's announcement, and they're just capitalizing on Clark's massive popularity. But here's the twist. There might be more to Aga's reaction than just the jersey retirement itself. Is this truly about the ceremony, or could it be a deeper feeling of jealousy?